Southwest Florida, you were waking up to some of the coolest temperatures this season.
It is cold out there, and NBC2 is in full force this morning. And Clay, we're definitely bundled up.
Absolutely. We have team coverage for you tracking this chill this morning, and we are using our First Alert Storm Tracker.
Also, our NBC2 cameras are out there in all directions, and we have a weather station on board.
We are going to see a period of time this evening and tonight where winds are going to get up above 100 miles per hour.
Breaking new developments and the dangerous fire that ripped through a Fort Myers Beach home, destroying it. We are live with extensive coverage about what we've learned overnight.
You probably saw the push alert on your phone about officials recovering a body from the woods. This is a story we first brought to you at 4:30. Now, early this morning, you hate to hear this, an agent reportedly shot in Chicago, Stacey.
Right, Clay. Rachel, this is breaking by the moment. I want to get right to the live pictures. Of course,
a missing child case is now a murder one. This after a grand jury indicted a man for killing 9-year-old Diana Alvarez. So this is the face of the man that officials say killed the San Carlos Park girl. If you live in this red square seen on the map, you should not be in your home this morning. There is a shelter set up at Golden Gate Community Center where families will wake up anxious to find out the conditions of their homes. And that's where NBC2's Gabrielle Shirley is now.
NBC's Chris Pallone is live for us in Manhattan. In fact, Jason Dunning, our First Alert meteorologist, is out right now with our NBC2 storm tracker.
Now, the vote to keep it open was held up by a single senator, Republican Rand Paul, who said the bill's price tag was out of control. We're going to turn now to Kristen Holmes, live in Washington. A missing child, now the center of a murder case.
She was a child that had her whole life in front of her.
A family seeking death, vengeance for their daughter.
Eyes on the president addressing gun supporters while protesters prepare to rally.
2 top honors for Cape Coral's fleet. What the ranking means for you.
Caught on camera by a changing light.
I don't think that they're a good idea because they seem like a money-making scheme.
The court making you pay up.
And finally, some help with the drought in Southwest Florida. Dry today, some rain on the way this weekend. I'll show you when rain chances start to pick up in your First Alert forecast on the 2s.
The rain is coming down in Southwest Florida. Good morning, I'm Rachel Pierce.
And I'm Clay Miller. Good morning, everybody. We have you covered right now with team coverage. Amanda Skripchak keeping an eye on the roads for us this morning. You can see they are certainly slick right now in Cape Coral.
And Matt Gray expanding our knowledge of how the nor'easter is affecting us right here in Southwest Florida, too.
But first, let's hand it over to your First Alert meteorologist, Jason Dunning. Promised we'd have rain to deal with this morning, and that's come to fruition. Good morning, Jason.
Hey, good morning to you. We'd like to see a little more rain, but we'll take what we can get. And some of the rain is actually fairly heavy that's creeping in on the coastline of Lee County right now. We've got some lighter to moderate rain over portions of Cape Coral and North Fort Myers, over to Fort Myers even, out toward the Forum, around I-75, around the Veranda area. Suncoast Estates picking up on some pretty decent rains right now. This patch of rain working eastward, but this is really the main cluster that I'm watching. You can even see a couple of lightning strikes out there, but the good news is the lightning number is relatively low, only at about 2 lightning strikes in the last 15 minutes. We really want to see that low lightning count because of how dry it's been and because of that fire weather we've seen, especially over the last several days. I want to put a track on some of the heavier rain right now. In particular, this thunderstorm that's heading over toward the coast of Lee County around Captiva and Sanibel. Now, this is not a severe thunderstorm, but putting out some pretty good rain totals and also some gust of wind. So here's your timeline here. Captiva in about the next 15 minutes or so. St. James City closer to 6:30, and then I think for the rest of Lee County, Cape Coral, Fort Myers is be closer to 6:40 and 6:45. You can see McGregor Park around 6:48 and Fort Myers Beach also around 6:48. And this rain is not going to last very long this morning. It's moving at a pace of about 25 to 30 miles per hour. Also watching another cluster of some heavier rain. This is heading over toward the Pirate Harbor and Burnt Store Marina area, eventually out towards Suncoast Estates as we get closer to 6:36 this morning. We're not looking at any lightning in that particular cell. So here's a breakdown of what you need to know for your Wednesday forecast. We're going to start with some wet roads and some pockets of heavier rain, but by about 9 to 10 o'clock, the rain will be pushing down to the south. If you live in Naples, you're going to see the rain last closer to 8 and 9 o'clock, and then we'll start to see clearing weather as we get closer to midday today. I know we've got spring training today at JetBlue Park. We're going to be okay for that. Rain not in the forecast for the afternoon, but it will turn fairly breezy and temperatures staying pretty cool for the second part of the day. We'll talk more about some of the rain approaching and how cool temperatures will get over the next couple days coming up at 6:12.
Well, good morning, Southwest Florida. Taking a look at the roads right now in Lee County. We're not seeing too many delays, but I do want to let you know about something I told you 10 minutes ago. Delays on State Road 82 picking up a little bit more. They were about 10 minutes ago, but now they're sitting at around 3. That red on your screen is where you're seeing that from Sunshine to Gunnery Road. Expect those delays to continue to build throughout the morning as we usually see heavy congestion in that area. That's your NBC2 traffic alert.
A second nor'easter is threatening the region after this weekend's deadly bomb cyclone.
And right now, crews are still working to restore power to much of the area, but Mother Nature is not letting up. And what's behind us is affecting the Northeast here, but obviously much more dangerous. Continue our team coverage from New York City is John Pomerantz, who is explaining why more than 50 million people are bracing for another powerful storm. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Clay, Rachel. You know, it doesn't look so bad here, but officials are telling people don't be fooled. This storm is going to hit later this morning. It is going to hit hard, and that's the reason they already have 2,000 flights canceled throughout the Northeast. And as people are bracing for this storm while they are still trying to cope with the effects of the last one.
Millions of people from Philadelphia to Boston are on high alert as a second major winter storm threatens the East Coast just days after the deadly bomb cyclone hit.
We are announcing a state of emergency statewide.
New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy preparing for the storm to dump heavy snow as some residents in North Jersey are still experiencing power outages from the storm last weekend.
Just as we did with last weekend's nor'easter, we are engaging all levels of government to be ready to act to protect our residents and businesses.
Officials in Marshfield, Massachusetts say they've had to use drones to assess beach damage because of the continuous high tides, while some residents in nearby Duxbury are now in a race against time to rebuild a seawall to protect their homes from this next winter storm.
Never thought this would happen because we're so much higher than everyone else, but because of the wall, we had no control. And we're devastated.
And it's that race against time, which is going to be such a challenge. You know, overnight, still 100,000 people, customers still without power, even if they make any progress on connecting some of those people. And that progress could be very short-lived once this storm intensifies later today. Rachel, Clay?
Stacey Deffinbaugh here in the Alert Center. I want to take you now to Philadelphia. Let's show them the shot here of what it looks like. A lot of rain, slick conditions, slushy roads right now in Philadelphia. Live shot right now as these folks continue to brace for this powerful nor'easter headed their way.
Thank you, and I'm joined here by First Alert meteorologist Matt Gray. Matt, we should mention, too, to some of our viewers, if you're heading out trying to catch a flight to the Northeast, there are some cancellations for good reason on the departures and arrivals at RSWs, to check that. And this whole system, it's connected with what we're seeing here with this front moving in.
Yeah, really, this front is just the tail end of that developing nor'easter. And the reason why they call it that, one of the reasons is that, well, that northeast part of the United States always gets hit the worst when these things start to develop. So you see that area of low pressure that is right off the North Carolina and Virginia coast, and the cold front that extends all the way south here into Florida. And so what we're going to see as the front passes through us today is that low is going to work its way up the coast and get stronger and stronger as we go through the day and even into tomorrow as well. Out ahead of that, lots of snow. Winds are going to push onshore with those high tides, and that, unfortunately, that coastal flooding for the second time in about a week. And some more heavy snow after, really, they were socked by snow with the last nor'easter, once again, right about a week ago. So in that dark blue region, we're talking about another 12 to 18 inches of snow from interior Maine all the way into areas just outside New York City and Boston. All those flight cancellations going to make a mess of travel across the country.
Breaking news this morning, Collier County deputies are trying to figure out who this suspect is. They say he pretended to be a law enforcement officer in Golden Gate Estates. A woman told deputies she was stopped by a man while she was walking around a Mockley Road and Rabbit Run Drive on Sunday night. She claims the man said he was an officer and wanted to search her. He even threatened to arrest her if she did not cooperate. The man frisked her, then got into a newer model black Dodge Charger, similar to the one you're seeing on your screen right now. Detectives say the suspect is a bald, white man in his mid-50s. He's about 6 feet tall with a large build and blue eyes. Anyone with information is asked to call the Collier County Sheriff's Office.
It's now 6:07. Now to an NBC2 crime alert. Two sisters are facing 13 charges of burglary this morning. Lee County deputies say 13-year-old Gabriella Sirocco and her 16-year-old sister Angelia Sirocco broke into a string of cars at the Shadow Lakes community. Home surveillance video caught the pair in the act Sunday night. Detectives say they got into a car with the keys inside and took off in it. One woman says she had more than $400 stolen from her.
I had to hold back, but I totally wanted to kick their butts.
The car was later recovered less than a mile away. The sisters have been charged with multiple counts of car theft and burglary.
Scandal in country's music capital, a new mayor taking over.
The former one resigning after an affair with a bodyguard.
One step closer to letting Florida remain on daylight saving time year-round.
And watching a pretty big downpour right now just off of our coast on Southwest Florida's only live Doppler radar, closing in on Captiva. Sanibel eventually heading over toward the Caloosahatchee and Fort Myers. We'll have an updated timeline on when some of the heavier rains arrives and when it all moves out in your first alert forecast on the 2s.